making these delicious make ahead and freeze pizzas. I'm making mini pizzas today because they're convenient, they're fun, and they make a delicious snack. Make these obviously whatever size you want and use whatever toppings that you and your family prefer. Okay, so pizza is one of the easiest things to make. It's amazing how with just a few simple basic ingredients you can get something so delicious. To the warm water, I've added the yeast and oil. The oil is optional. If you don't have it, you can leave it out. I do like to add it though, as I feel it makes the dough more elastic and easy to work with. So especially if you're making the dough by hand, I would consider adding it. Give those ingredients a quick mix and add those to the flour. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell. I post new videos every week. If you're using a stand mixer like I am, start on low, and once these ingredients start to combine, you're going to knead the dough on high for a good 5 minutes. Now, you don't have to use a stand mixer to make pizza or any type of bread for that matter. I have several videos in which I show you how to knead dough using just your hands, and I'll leave one of them in the description box in case you're interested in some tips and learning some techniques. Just know that making dough by hand could take up to 15 minutes. I've added the salt. You always want to add the salt afterwards so it doesn't interfere with the rise of your dough. Transfer the dough into a greased bowl, oil the top as well, cover it well, and this needs to rise for about 2 hours. Now, while the dough is rising, I'm going to show you a really simple, delicious tomato sauce for the pizza. Now, a lot of Italians, including my mother, do not cook their pizza sauce. They just add it onto the pizza as is. However, I guarantee you that infusing your oil and tomato with a bit of garlic makes the world of a difference. I always like to tilt my pans. The oil infuses nicely and the garlic sautés and doesn't burn. Just be careful, obviously, when doing this, and you're going to add the tomato puree. This is just tomato, nothing else. I'm making quite a lot today because I love leftover sauce to freeze and use another time. Add the salt to your liking, and that's it. This needs to cook for about 10 to 15 minutes on a medium flame. If you want to add some basil, delicious, please do. I didn't have any today. Do not add sugar. This is not ketchup. Okay? Please don't add sugar to pizza sauce. Just don't. I know this seems like a really simple sauce, and it is, but it's delicious. Set this to the side to cool. Now, fresh mozzarella is always the best kind of mozzarella to use. However, I do think that using dry mozzarella for pizza is one of the most convenient ones to use. It doesn't release water and it freezes beautifully. But use what you have and what you like. The beauty of pizza is that you choose your toppings. Okay, so once the dough has risen, you're going to transfer it onto a well-floured board. Flour the top of the dough as well. And because I'm making mini pizzas today, I'm going to roll out my dough. If you're making regular size pizzas, you don't need a rolling pin. You can just shape the dough using your hands. Use a cookie cutter to cut out the pizzas. If you have kids, I bet you they would love to do this. These are really fun to make, and like I said, they freeze beautifully. This recipe makes around 24 mini pizzas, which you're going to place onto some parchment paper. Use your fingers to press down the center of the pizza. This just creates space for the toppings and a border, a crust, for your pizza. Poke some holes with a fork for an even rise, and you're going to lightly brush the pizzas with oil. This just helps them develop a beautiful color and also adds lots of flavor. Now we're going to par-bake these before the toppings and before freezing. This will prevent the crust from getting soggy and allow it to crisp up nicely in the final bake. You're going to bake the pizzas one sheet at a time at 220 degrees Celsius or 430 Fahrenheit for around 3 minutes. If you've made regular size pizzas, bake them for around 5 minutes. Now, because there's 2 trays of pizzas here, I assembled one right away and had it for lunch, but I will show you in just a moment what you would need to do if you were to freeze these. The process is a bit different, you'll see. Add whatever toppings you like. I'm making margherita, cheese pizzas, plain pizzas, call these what you want. Like I said, this first batch was for lunch, so I baked it right away in a preheated oven at 230 degrees Celsius or 450 Fahrenheit for around 8 minutes. You're going to let these cool for about 2 to 3 minutes and then dig in. These were incredible. Mini pizzas just make eating pizza even better and more enjoyable. They were soft in the middle, but with a nice crispy crust, and they were incredibly cheesy, as you can tell. That was the best lunch I've had on filming day. Usually when I film, I'll just open up a can of beans. I know, sad. So I definitely enjoyed these. Now let's move on to the second batch. I'm going to tell you all you need to know about freezing your pizzas. Now, if you're going to freeze these for another time, the first thing you need to do, you don't want to add your toppings while the crusts are still hot. You could even just freeze these as is, plain. I love to do that because sometimes you're in the mood for a completely different pizza, or you may have leftovers. So what you would do is take the plain crust out of the freezer, add your toppings right then and there, and bake these right away. Super simple. I'm not doing that today, obviously, because I want to use my sauce and the mozzarella that I had, but please add your favorite toppings. You could do salami, you could do cooked sausage, olives. The only thing I would add last minute right before you bake these are fresh ingredients such as tomatoes, because if you freeze fresh vegetables, they'll release a lot of water when you bake your pizza, so add those right before you're about to bake the pizza. You're going to put them as is in a Ziploc bag. There's no need to, wrap them or do anything else. And you're going to pop these into the freezer. They'll be good for around a month, probably even longer than that. When you're ready to bake the pizzas, you're going to take them out of the freezer, place these onto a pan, and you're going to bake these frozen as is in a preheated oven at 230 degrees Celsius or 450 Fahrenheit for around 10 minutes or until you're satisfied with the browning of your crust. These were just as delicious as the ones we baked right away. They were gooey and cheesy and amazing. If you've never made homemade pizza, you and your family will love this recipe. It's easy, convenient, delicious, and you can really customize these pizzas to your liking.